Hi, everybody. Hola. Hello. There's Bob. There's Christine from Nashville. Tom Hayworth. Rick Larson. Wow, we got some cool people out there. Hello, everyone. How y'all doing in Facebook land, YouTube land? Yep, we got some folks in there, too. I can't. Hey, by the way, somebody on YouTube, tell me that you can hear me. Because I got this big old microphone right here, and you should be able to hear me right here. I know last week we had some issues, so you guys can put in a chat thing and tell me that you can hear me. That would be really, really, really cool if you could. So, yeah, just let me know so that it says here that you should hear me. So, anyway, so what's up, everybody? How we enjoying quarantine time? Is it all going good? Hey, Steve, what's up? How's quarantine time? You guys enjoying it? Going nuts yet? I know I've been. So I have places to walk. I have places to time to jam. I'm still able to give some lessons, which is good. I'm glad that I went to my online format about a year ago because it's coming in handy now. And some of my students who I know are out there can attest to that. It's a good thing I'm able to do it and be set up for it so that we can keep things going. So that's what really cool about that. So, and by the way, if you are bored and you want to maybe get a few guitar lessons, I do have online lessons. I still have some spots available. So there's a link, should be a link somewhere below both YouTube and Facebook. I think I put them there. At least I hope I did. Where you can book it right there. I'm cheap. I can be cheap. I could be a cheap date. Scott, you got climbing walls, got 10 miles down on the bike today. You know, I like cycling, and I was going to get out on the, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday or the day before, whichever day. We've had a few nice days, and yeah, I got a flat, no big deal. Well, the stuff that repairs the flat is broke. So now it's not like I can just go to the store and get my patches. I have to order them. So everything's closed. So now I have to wait several days. Welcome to the new world, right? So I haven't been able to bike yet. So something that normally would take me, 10 minutes to get, now I can't do it at all until Amazon decides to deliver it to me. So, hey, whatever. So, so today's guitar lesson day. We're doing some guitar stuff. And I don't have my electric out. I've got this. The acoustic guitar. I love the acoustic guitar. I love playing it. I don't get a chance to play it as often as I would like to because everybody wants me to do lead guitar solos, which I do enjoy doing, by the way. But, hey, Jeff, teach you something. Do you play guitar? You're an amazing drummer, Jeff. But if you play guitar, I'll show you a couple chords here. This lesson actually is going to be obviously for those of you who might be on the early end of playing or somewhere early intermediate. So that's kind of where I gear it towards. I'm kind of figuring that if you're a little more advanced, you're either giving lessons or you're probably taking them at this point. Or you're just, gigging and making lots of money at it, right? Not right now. But so this is more geared towards y'all who are kind of in the early stages, or you're still trying to figure out how this thing works and how to do what we call strumming and how to change our chords. And that's what I'm going to cover today. Changing chords. Wait, I thought this is about acoustic guitar, and I want to learn how to strum. We're going to get to that. But if you don't change your chords in the right way, it doesn't matter how good that you strum. You're going to not sound very good because you can't move those fingers fast enough. So we're going to show you a little bit on how a couple of secrets, a couple of tricks that I've got to, Steve, you're on a hike. Awesome. Love that. Now I want to be on a hike. I think next week, if the weather's nice, I'm going to do this outside in my backyard. I'm totally set up. I can do this. I'm going to do it outside. But anyway, okay. So acoustic guitar. So I've actually had this question asked to me several times from people, especially if you're even thinking, I don't know how many people aren't playing guitar yet and are thinking about getting one. I always get that question, like, which is better, acoustic or electric? And my answer is, it doesn't matter. Which one do you prefer? Because you can start on either one. As long as it's got 6 strings and the strings aren't a million feet off the neck, it's a well-made guitar or a decent guitar. You can definitely start on either one. So you don't have to start guitar and acoustic. You don't have to start on electric. A lot of things that I teach early on, both electric and acoustic, are kind of the same thing. So you would learn the same stuff. How to put your finger on the fretboard, how to play a chord, how to do all those kinds of things. You're going to learn it either way, whether you're on electric or whether you're on acoustic. So, so those of you, I know I've had that question. I've had that question asked last time. All right. So thanks, Len. I appreciate that. My buddy Len, we go back a ways. He was him and I, we coached our son's baseball teams. Len was always the manager, and I always coached, and I play guitar better than coaching than baseball. Yeah, you probably got a point there. Although there was a time I wanted to be a baseball player. Anyway, I digress. So, so what I'm going to show you today are a couple of things. I'm going to try and cover 2 things in the limited time I have, because I am broadcasting on both YouTube and Facebook, and I'm taking up bandwidth. So everybody else in this house is off until I'm done, and so I'm going to kind of have to move through this a little bit, and so I can turn the internet back over to the family. So let me talk about really quick on the left hand how we're going to play chords, right? Y'all play chords. Chords are what we like to do on the acoustic guitar. Now, some of my existing students, I know some of you are out there. This will be a review for you because you've already gone through this, but it doesn't hurt to learn a little extra. Those of you who don't know anything about this, when we're playing our chords, when we're changing chords, there's a really, 4, but I'm just going to cover 3 techniques that are pretty simple to grasp that will make changing those chords a lot easier, because I know just from asking a lot of people out there in social media and my website and my emails and everything, is that this is always like the hardest thing, the biggest challenge most people have is being able to change chords, what they call chord transitions. It's always the hardest thing to do. I hear that all the time. And so there is really a really simple, well, it's simple in concept. I'm not going to say it's simple execution. It's all going to depend on how much you guys practice. But there's 3 basic techniques, and I'm going to go through them kind of quickly here. So forgive me if I'm going too fast. I don't know if I did it on YouTube, but I know on Facebook, I have a link to a PDF called, it's got a fancy name, Chronic Chord Condition. This goes over this very thing. So you can click it and it'll give you a little more detail in it on the techniques that I use to change chords when we're playing acoustic. So on acoustic guitar, and this isn't just play acoustic. This also applies to electric. So I want to qualify that. This both. So one of the techniques that we use is called the glued finger technique. Some call it an anchor. And what that is when we're going from one chord to the next, sometimes our fingers are on the same note for both of those chords. And I'll give you an example here. If I were to play an E minor, all right, which looks like that, all right, looks like that. And then I'm going to play a G. I'm going to play a G that looks like this. I'm going to go back and forth between that E minor and that G, right? So as I go back and forth between these two chords, I don't know if you can tell here, but this pointer finger stays on the same note. This one right here on that second fret when I go back and forth. All right, that's called the glued finger technique. So instead of playing an E minor to a G and doing this and trying to reform it, okay, because that takes time, especially if you're playing a song that kind of moves. Right, you want to be able to get to that chord quickly and on the beat. You can't tell the band or your buddies to, hey, wait, I gotta hold on, I gotta find that chord, right? You don't want to be doing that. You want to be able to get to it quick, and then move on, right? So this technique here comes in really good. It's really good. Comes in handy. So whenever you're playing a song where you've got two chords, where you got the same note between the two chords, and you can just look at the shapes. All right, you keep that pointer finger or whichever finger it is, whatever chord it is, you keep that finger on the fretboard as you move to the next chord. So if I do this E minor and I switch over to this G, notice I just keep it there. I go back and forth just like that. Another good example might be, let's find another one here. Oh, here's a good one. This one would be from the A minor to a C. Obviously, this is assuming you guys know how to play guitar. This is, I'm assuming you guys at least have an idea of chords. At least I hope you do. If not, then you really need a guitar lesson. So if I go from the A minor, looks like that. All right, A minor looks like this. Those of you who know that, right? Hey, Julian's here. Yeah, Mr. Mrocha is here. We got 2/3 of animation. Let's get Joe out here. We'll have a gig. So A minor, and then I'm going to play a C chord. All right, which looks like that. And you notice that there's two notes that are the same. They're the same from this A minor to the C. So rather than going A minor and then doing this, and then I got to take my hand off and do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these two fingers glued or anchored there as they move to the C. And it makes for transitioning a lot easier. So when you're strumming your guitar, all right, you're going to want to be able to do that kind of technique to go between those two chords. And these chords I'm giving you, by the way, are very common. They're very popular in music. E minor, G, A minor, C. I mean, these are all typically played a lot, and especially acoustic guitar players who like to strum a lot, we're going to definitely be doing chords that look like this over here. So this technique really can come in handy. So it's called the glued finger technique. Now another one is called, I call it the common pattern. It's got different names too that are out there, but it means just that. There are two, sometimes you're going from one chord to another where your finger shape are shaped exactly the same going from one chord to the next. All right. Let me give you, this is an easy example here. This is E major. All right. Which looks like this. Okay. Looks just like that. And then I've got an A minor, which looks like this, right? And you see how the fingers are in that same shape, right? They're that same pattern. Okay. So when we see that, we want to keep that same pattern when we lift and move to the next chord. So if I had a song that had E major and went to an A minor or back, I'm going to hold that shape just like that. All right, see how that works? Here's another example. And like I said, these are all common stuff you're going to see in a lot of popular music. If I were going to play a C chord and I wanted to go back and forth from C to G, right? So these two middle fingers are in that same shape. So I'm just going to, so here's your G. I'm going to play a G like this. and there's a C. It looks like that, right? So check that out. Check this out. These two middle fingers, you got the one here, which is on this, this second fret. This was on the third fret, up on the lower string. And when you go to the C, they look the same, right? So these are common pattern. So when I switch between the C and the G, yep, I got to change these two. But if I can keep these two middle ones just shaped like that, it gets to that chord quicker, all right? Now, you're still going to have to practice moving these two. So it's just a little bit of finger memory, right? Little finger exercise, some memory here, just going back and forth from the C to the G, right? So that's called a common pattern. Now, sometimes we can use those two chords, those two techniques, the first one, the glued, and the common pattern at the same time. Here's one. When I'm going to the C and I want to play an F. Oh, that dreaded F chord. Yikes. Yep, I got to borrow that. But when we go from a C to an F, which, like it or not, folks, hey there, Karen. How you doing? When we go from the C to the F major, those are common chords, and I'm going to play a common song you've heard, or at least most of you old timers have heard here, or old timers. So I go from the C to the F. What I'm doing here is the middle fingers are doing this, what's that called, that common pattern. And notice that the pointer finger stays glued right there. So I'm using both techniques. All right. So the idea here, whenever you're going in between all these chords, is to look for commonalities, whether you got a common pattern with your fingers or whether you got a common note between chords. So we got this G and the C and the F, and I can play, this is an old school song, an old Bob Seger song. So if you watch the left hand, notice I'm just going from the G, common pattern. I play really quickly this F, but see how I'm going to skip a couple strings here. Same pattern, middle finger there, and I just drop the pointer and then keep the pointer finger glued to the C. All right, and I'm going to go back and forth like that. All right, so that's where I can use a combination of those, just playing This Is Night Moves by Bob Seger. All right, so that's called common pattern. So then the other one that I use is used sometimes, but not as often is, common pattern. One more thing I want to show you, common pattern. Those of you who can play bar chords. Ooh, the bar chords. But the bar chords, which should be your friend, by the way. So if you're ignoring bar chords on guitar, you really need to get to know them, because if you know bar chords, I won't cover this today. If you know how to play a major or minor bar chord, you can play all kinds of crazy chords by knowing the bar chords. And it gets you out of trouble. It's gotten me out of trouble a lot of times when somebody says, hey, play, you got to play that A minor 9. Well, I got to get to it quickly, right? I know just by just changing the shape, but keeping the same place. Bar chords are good. Anyway, I digress. But maybe that's for another lesson. Maybe we'll cover that next time. But for the common pattern, we do this all the time on bar chords, right? We keep this finger shaped just like this. Even in the minor, we're keeping 3 of the 4 fingers the same. Okay, really quick, name that tune. Who knows it? Chat, type the comment. Do you know this one? And those of you who are old enough to remember, the bonus question to that is, do you remember what the commercial was that was on? Anybody know? Actually, if you just say who wrote the song, who did that song, and then what commercial was it on? It's anybody who's close to my age, even younger, if you're probably 40 and up, you probably will know the commercial this was on. So we'll save that for the end. Anyway, so I digress. So anyway, that's another way of using common pattern. We play power chords. We're doing rock. We're using that common pattern. We're playing power chords. All right. So that common pattern is used quite a bit. So all right, the third and final one that I'm going to go over, and then I'm going to show you a little bit on the strumming, is called the slide finger. Not used as often, but it is used where we look for two notes that are on the same string that will be played by the same finger. What? Okay. So here, I'll give you, this is one example here. These are two chords that are played a lot together. So there's a D and there's an A major. Okay. So when I go from a D to an A major, if you look, this ring finger, all right, is on the B string for both the D and it's on the B string for the A. So if I'm playing a song where I'm going to go from here and back, what I'm doing with this ring finger, just to keep me grounded and keep me anchored, quote unquote, to the guitar, is I lift that finger up on the string. I'm not going to hear the slide, just lift it up, slide it over, and form the next chord. It kind of keeps you in the vicinity rather than doing this, which we want to avoid. Actually, I think that chord is actually that chord, but you get the idea. Going from a D to an A is a classic way of doing a slide thing. Let me go back and forth. All right, so that's called the slide finger technique. Hey, Nick, what's up, man? So that's called the slide. So that'll also get you to those chords quick. So to review really quick, there's called the anchored finger or the glued finger. There's a common pattern, which we use quite a bit. And there is the slide finger, where we go back and forth. All right, so those are three very popular techniques. So those of you who are beginning or you're early on in your playing, those are things you could work on. I don't know if I did it on Facebook, but I mean on YouTube, but I know on Facebook I have kind of quirked it. It's a PDF. Kind of gets more into detail. It actually shows you a bunch of songs that you can play to practice that technique. So go ahead and download that if you got it. So anyway, that's what that looks like. And actually, I'll have it on YouTube. I don't think I have it on link on YouTube, but I'll put that link when I'm done. It'll be on the channel later. All right, so that's the basic thing. So that's why when I talk about strumming, I always talk about the left hand first. And I know, wait, what? The left hand? Yes, the left hand. I like doing that because if you already are familiar with how to play your chords, you want to be able to change them so you can change them right when you hit the chord on the beat. All right, it's really important that you be able to do that. So on the right hand, on the strumming, a couple things I want to talk about there, really quick. So first of all, how we hold the pick matters. All right, I've seen all kinds of ways on people on how they hold the pick. I've seen all kinds of twisted and turny positions here on how to hold the pick. So we want to make sure that we're holding the pick correctly. Okay, I have my pointer finger like this with the side of it and my thumb. And I think both of you y'all can see that. And I hold it like this. And now when I'm strumming, when I like to strum, and I do the same thing when I'm picking. What I like to do is I don't ever sweep across the strings with this part of the pick, the tip of the pick. I never do it. If you all do it, more power to you, but I don't ever do that. I like to kind of tilt that pick around a little bit where I'm going back and forth on the side of the pick. Why do I like doing that? Because it's a lot less resistance, all right, to the strings when you're strumming, right? If you're just playing straight with the tip, it's got that, you got a lot of resistance in there when you're playing. So when I'm holding it, I like to sort of tilt that pick over like this, right? And the other thing, speaking of twisting and tilting, is I also come across the strings with the, I don't know if this is going to work on both cameras here, but instead of having the pick go across like totally perpendicular or totally parallel to the strings, I always twist the pick. Let's see. I don't know if this will show up, but all right, here, how about this? Turn my fingers at the bottom of the pick. So it's going to be pointing in this direction rather than straightening down. So it's going to be like this. And I'm going to be tilting tilting my pick left or one way or the other, depending if I'm downstrumming or I'm upstrumming. All right, and I'm using always the side of this pick, either the front side on a downstrum or the back side, rather than this part here. And it's always going to be on, as you're strumming this side, you're only doing this side. It's kind of awkward if you're, I don't even know how that's possible. But anyway, you're going to do it like this. All right. So I hope that makes kind of sense that when I'm strumming, it's right here. Now, when you're strumming the guitar too, I've seen a lot of times where we see a lot of stiff wrist on the strums, or we'll see just using the wrist and not using the arm. I like to say it this way. You want to have the wrist basically lead the arm. So as I'm moving down like this, my wrist, I'm kind of doing a little bit of a thing like this with my wrist, kind of like this. I'm twisting the wrist just a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and twist it this way on an up strum. You know, kind of like chill conductor, just like that. Right? So we're going to go. So I strum down like this with my wrist like twisted like this. And then back. And then up. Down. Always using that side part of the pick rather than the tip of the pick. You just go down. So you can do down strums. And then the up strum. Another way to look at it is basically I talk about the wrist leads the arm, not the other way around. So as the wrist moves, the arm follows, and the other way around. You never want to have the wrist a stiff wrist, and you never want to not use the arm when you're strumming a guitar. You want to be able to. So you want to be able to use both. It'll sound a heck of a lot better when you're doing it that way. I promise it will look much, much better that way. And it'll sound better that way. Actually, not look. It'll sound much better when you play that. So that's a quick thing on how to get the strumming in on the acoustic. So there's a couple of songs that kind of demonstrate everything I just talked about. They're relatively simple. And one of them that's one of my favorites to teach, and most of you who are my students already know this, is called Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Green Day. I love this one. I think this is a great one that works on the chord technique. And if you're just learning guitar, you're just doing down strums. All right, we start with just the down strum. I always like to start with the down strums before getting that up. All right, and it's really simple. Technically, he uses there's a capo on the side. If you ever played the song, there's a capo, and it uses these chords. The 4 chords that this song uses, which are pretty common to a lot of pop songs, are E minor, G, D, A, and then back to E minor. And if you'll notice, I use the anchored finger to go from E minor to G. Then I anchor the ring finger, because I play the G like this. I anchor that ring finger when I go to the D. Then I do that slide technique when I go to the A. I lift up, slide it over, and play the A this way. Now you can also play the A this way. Those of you who can do the bar chord, totally fine. I don't really care. Doesn't matter. But for this kind of conversation, we slide it over. And then these 2 fingers right here on the A are common to go to the E minor, and we start all over again. So here's how this works. So I see how I'm using those techniques on the left hand. Now on the right hand, all we're doing is we're doing just very simple down strums. 1, 2 strums per chord. We're calling those quarter beats. So if I had a metronome, which I don't have hooked up here, we would be playing right on the quarter beats to the metronome. Bum, 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 bum. I think next time I should show how to play the metronome. That might be a good one to do next time. And it's just going from between those 4 chords over and over and over and over again. Now, the chorus of the song, I'm not going to go through the whole song. We'll be here for a while. I don't want to do that. But the chorus utilizes these chords. It goes from a C to G to D to E minor. And notice when I go from the C to the G, those middle two fingers are going to play common. You may also note, if you're a astute observer, that I'm playing the G differently than I did in the verse. Okay, why did I do that? In the verse, I'm always looking at the chord I'm coming from, and I'm going to. It's easier for me to play this G to the D rather than this, where I've got to change my hand position and then come back. So I like to try to minimize that, so I'm doing less movement of my wrists and my arm. I like to be as efficient as possible. So a good player is going to be really efficient on his playing. So, I'm going to play in the verse the G like this. Now, I'm not going to play this G in the chorus, because when I go from a C to a G, it's really stinking easy just to do that. Okay? As opposed to doing this and doing this. I mean, that's not wrong. If you do that, it sounds great, then more power to you. But if you're still learning, if you can try and minimize the motion on your hand, on your wrist and your arm, everywhere else other than your fingers, then that's what you're going to want to do. So you play, so I do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I go to a G. All right, now here's an interesting one. These two fingers stay the same as I go all the way down to the D. So you got to go take that shape all the way down to the D. You got to go from one end of the guitar to the next to the other. And that can be a challenge if you're not used to it. Okay? Because the other thing we all want to do, and this is another side note, is we don't want to lift our fingers too far away from the neck when we're playing the guitar. We want to just try and keep them close above the strings, as close as we can, actually. All right? That's really what we're after. So that's what we want to do. So that's why these techniques work well for that too. Because if the closer you can keep them to the strings, the quicker you also can get to the chord. So we got the G. So I went from the C to the G, hold that to the D, and then interestingly enough, these two, if you're going to go to the E minor, can kind of stay that way as we go back to the E minor and start it over again to the C, because I can go from E minor, keep this finger glued, to the C. And the strums, it's still the down strums. It's what we call double time, though. So we're still keeping the same. Hey, Ryan, what's up, man? You should be teaching me. So anyway, so I lost my place. Thanks. So this is called double time, or another way to think of it is eighth beat. So this is when we have the metronome, and that I think this is going to be my next lesson. I'm gonna how to play to a metronome. Thanks, Ryan. So this is to a metronome, and I think you probably get a grasp on this. So maybe I'll do this next week or the week after. We're going to learn how to play this stuff to a metronome, because playing to a metronome is a really big deal here to guitar players. Just as a side note, and I'm speaking from experience, guitar players in general, I don't know, Julian, if you're out there, or Jeff, you can attest to this. Guitar players kind of suck at timing. We like to push things, push the speed. We want to try and get ahead of the beat a little bit. So I try to teach people, and I always work on it myself to keep a metronome, or maybe like a drum machine, if you got GarageBand or whatever, where I'm keeping the beat, and hold to that beat, and forces you to stay there. So anyway, that's a side note. We'll cover that, I think, in another lesson. I think it's going to be a pretty important one. But when we were doing the verse, we were playing these quarter beats, right? So this is our timing right here. Now, double time, I'm just adding one in between those spaces of the quarter beat. And that, my friends, is the chorus. So it sounds like, to those of you who may be thinking that sounds faster, it really isn't. We're just playing we're playing twice as many strums per beat, okay? That's just what that is. It's called, we call it double time sometimes. You can also think in terms of eighth beats. 1/8, there's 2/8, 2 1/4. We have math here. I bet you hated math. Math can suck. But anyway, so that's why this song is really good to work on your technique And it's, as you notice, it's all the down strum. Everything, the whole song is just down strums. Now, of course, there's electric guitar. There are other things that are played in that song we're not going to cover here in this lesson. I do have the tabs, I think, in the Chronic Chord Edition over there on Facebook. I will have it on YouTube when I'm done. I'll put the link in there. And then we got to do the up strums. And up strums is, just. And the first thing I would say is just pick a chord, and you want to be able to go down where you're striking this side of the pick, and then this side of the pick with your wrist turn on the up. So there's many songs that use up strums and down strums. I mean, the Boulevard of Broken Dreams is an oddity because it's just got down strums. Most songs have a mixture of this stuff. So I don't know. There's a bunch of them. This one I've been teaching a couple of my students here now. It's a really interesting Four Non Blondes. What's going on? No, not the Marvin Gaye version. It's just the Four Non Blondes version. What's going on? I can't sing it, so don't ask me to sing it. But it just utilizes the G, and it utilizes the A minor, and it uses a C. And if you notice, my left hand is keeping this shape here. I just dropped this finger, and it was interesting, the G to the A minor, there is no technique. So now we've got to memorize how to go from the G to the A minor. That ultimately is the end of the day is what's going to save you, is that you're going to use your muscle memory. You're just going to practice back and forth over and over and over. And this Four Non Blondes song, it's just it's the same strum the entire song. That's why this is a good one to work on. I don't know if I've got the tabs linked here, but I can get them to you if you want them. But it's there's times you're doing two down strums. There's times you're doing two up strums, which can get really confusing sometimes. I'm going to put the tabs. I'll do that lesson next time with the metronome, because we're going to play it to a metronome as well, which will be really, really interesting. So anyway, that, my friends, is a basics on how to do acoustic guitar, how to play acoustic guitar, just basics on the strumming. So if you are in the market to learn some guitar while you're in quarantine, because I don't know how long we're going to be there in quarantine, I do online lessons. I teach from beginner all the way up to the advanced. Primarily beginners and intermediate, so don't be shy. I do teach on there, so the links are on both sites, and you can just book it right there. So I think that's it. So some of y'all want me to jam a song. So should I play a song? I don't know who's out there. But I'm going to play a song, and I'm going to do it on the electric. And this is one that actually I've been practicing, not because I don't know it, because I used a new profile on my Kemper. Kemper is a type of amp, and it's a Rush song. So we're going to close out with a tune. And let me get my guitar all set up here. All right. Now, warning on YouTube, this is typically doesn't sound good, unfortunately. I haven't figured the YouTube puzzle yet on how to get the audio on a live stream to sound good when I'm playing guitar. It will sound okay on Facebook. At least it's supposed to sound okay on Facebook. So I'm going to actually make a video on how to play this song soon. So this one's not the most popular Rush song, although it is known, it is out there. But I just want to play it because I've got the microphone. So I'm going to play a little. Got the backing track here, and All right, so I'm gonna close this out with a tune to rock you guys out by yes, Bob. Here we go. This is going to be a little rush called Digital Man. Yo, there you go. That was Digital Man.
To fly around.
That is a commercial that we don't want to hear. So that's Digital Man. Sorry, YouTube, if that audio didn't sound good. Still trying to figure out how that works, but hope you guys like that. That's a closeout. Digital Man. Fire on High. ELO. Yes. CBS Sports in the 70s. Maybe. That's not what I was thinking of, though. I was thinking of US 30 Drive Strip. So US 30 Drive Strip with a great one. Right. Yep. It might have been CBS too. I'm sure it was. I don't know. I just remembered it from the US 30 Drive Strip commercials way back in the day. Actually, no, it wasn't that far. Well, it was far. Okay. So anyway. So that was acoustic guitar lesson. Yes, I closed it on electric, but hey, that's the way it works because I have the mic, I have control, and now I'm going to have to relinquish it because I need to turn back over to the family and the interwebs. So thank you for watching. I have, yeah, I know. I remember that too. Sunday with a great one. Right. Yeah. So, anyway, some of you may be catching this later if it's not live. I do have my online lessons down below. You click the link there if you're not doing it. I also have chord condition, which talks about the chord changes. I'm probably going to cover some more stuff later. I do want to cover some lead guitar. I don't know what day I'm going to do it. I tried it on Sunday. Sunday kind of sucks. So I'm going to probably pick another day of the week where I'm going to show some lead guitar. So those of you who want to learn some lead guitar. Anyway, for those of you that stuck around, thank you so much. It's much appreciated. And I'm going to sign off right now, and I will see you all on the next one. So don't forget to keep jamming, hang in there for the quarantine, and I will talk to you guys later. All right. Adios, amigos.